5th Street live.
I haven't really. I talked to him on my birthday.
You did?
131. 131-13, baby.
14 years.
13.
13 years, bro.
13 years.
Wow, bro.
Yep.
That's a good start, Wes. You want to pull that a little closer to you?
I don't know. Yeah, sure.
Right about there. Yep.
How we looking on audio there? I've already forgot. What's your
John.
John?
Yeah, you can bring it down and just kind of point it up towards you.
Like,
Down and point it up.
Yep, and then you can just in that way you can bring it a little.
here, I'll help you,
I don't know
Wes.
if can I get it farther down than this? Oh, bring it from here.
No. You had it. Like, so you kind of do this and then kind of do one of these.
Oh, perfect.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that good?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, and then if you just pull it just down closer to you.
Okay.
It's walking on you. Yeah, you
Check.
you can move. But yeah, what do you think?
I love the space.
Did you see the
Great.
Did you see where we were kind of how we were doing it before?
No,
Okay.
I had no idea.
I'll send you, but it's great, bro, because the other space is wonderful. It's always going to be my home, but it's always it's just one of those things that it was like I had to take stuff down every episode and
I get it. man.
repurpose the space for about 7 other things I'm doing, right?
Yep.
But this one we can just have a dedicated space. John produces 2 other another podcast and
Oh, cool.
and he is, a full-time videographer or like trying to be a full-time videographer, photographer now. You know what I
Nice.
mean? Which is,
yeah.
again, just kind of like how you're saying, it's like we get sober and all these things kind of start rolling our way,
They do.
which is a wild thing how
They
that
do.
works, bro.
Yeah.
And we've,
one thing after the other and the next right thing, right? I mean, that's the deal
yeah.
for me.
You started Tahoe Trail Bar in what year?
I started Tahoe Trail Bar in 2010. Yeah.
It's my junior year of high school, brother.
Right. There you
It's
go.
all good.
It was, I was 30,
You were? Okay. Yeah.
30 years old.
Yep.
So it was, and it started like in a coffee shop, it was like
A local coffee shop?
we would just mixing bowls of oats and chocolate chips and, corn flakes and kind of whatever we had around. And
Cool. Did you find a recipe that was like, this is the one, this is what we're going to do? Okay.
There was a couple of gals that were kind of putting some stuff together and yeah, it was really just kind of riffed off of a Quaker Chewy bar.
Cool. I like yours better, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do you have, so I was wondering, you use natural sweeteners or you use no sugar or something like that?
We use natural sweeteners and we do
Yeah.
non-GMO ingredients.
Dude, I love GMOs, bro.
Look.
When's the last time you had a grass-fed cow, dude? It
Get
sucks.
yourself some GMOs. No, it's a, it was a big
Sorry,
thing.
John.
It was a big thing when I started the whole plant-based thing and vegan and all that stuff was just getting started.
Right. In 2010, it was kind of just taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stroke of luck, fate, whatever you want to call it. But when my stuff was popular for the reasons that everything was kind of getting bigger, all the plant-based categories were blowing up at Whole Foods and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that really helped build the business.
Yeah. And now you're distributing on a national level.
Mhm.
You're in
Yep.
REIs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, outdoor channel. We're national. We're West Coast in like grocery retail,
Yeah.
and then Amazon is national, but that's more of like I would call it an e-commerce type channel, right?
Right.
But it's the everything channel now.
Right. One of the things that I gravitated towards you on in an early age, especially because I was in early recovery,
Right.
is I saw you, and I say this to a lot of people I look up to, and I wouldn't have you on the show if I didn't, but you had a piece about you that I was very attracted to, right?
Yeah.
Is that softness and
Yeah.
that, and you also, I could tell you owned something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You had something, right? And I see guys who have gone through the program and been honest and thorough.
Yeah.
have that thing where it's like they have something, and
Yeah.
it's not. It's not necessarily material. Sometimes it's a career. Sometimes it's a business.
Yeah.
But it's like guys that I've met that have owned businesses in the room that I got sober in.
Yeah.
They just had something I wanted, bro.
Mm-hmm.
They had a peace. They had a softness, and they had a sense of what seemed to me like a sense of purpose every day.
Right.
Right. And
Well, thanks.
yeah, bro.
I can't take any credit for it, of course.
Right.
You know, it is what we become in the process that
Yeah.
is any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But
All you had to do was walk out of a burning building.
yeah, right.
You know?
All I had to do was ask for help.
Yeah.
And once I did, it the way was shown, right? I mean, that's the whole thing with, I think, whether it's entrepreneurship or recovery or anything, is if the path is right and you trust the path, then it's more about consistency and sticking with that.
Yeah.
And it's especially important, I think, when it's important for me to recognize, I think, that I'm the same guy that you were when you were looking at me. I was looking at other guys. I mean, it's this continual cycle.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Where we come into the program broken, and we aspire to something better. We find a little bit of hope, and then that manifests in other people
For sure.
that are in the program.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly honored and grateful to have been that mirror for you. Really, is all the way I see it.
It was
is
that
a
whole
mirror.
it was that whole group of men, which is crazy because it's like, man, if the networking companies caught on to that room, they'd be in there every day. You know what I mean? It's literally a group of some of the most profound, well-to-do men that I've ever met, dude. And it's like, man, this fucking guy, this guy that talks about, smoking meth on 4th Street, that was what it was.
Right.
It was like guys that were like, oh, well, I own a casino.
Yeah.
And, but they also they tell my story. And I'm like, bro, there's no fucking way, right? You own a casino now, but you're telling my fucking story, dude. So that's what it was. It was like, if this fucking guy can do it, I can do something. And through my preneurships, I stopped worrying about the result about 5-6 years ago, and just realized that the goal for me, what my higher power was saying, was just fucking stay busy, create once a day, whatever the fuck that looks like, and start manufacturing days that are full and not idle, and don't worry about what comes to pass.
Yep.
And what's come to pass has manifested truly through a will of a higher power that's not myself. You know what I mean? And that's a big deal, bro.
But props to you for
Thanks, bro.
that intrinsic motivation, right? And choosing to just invest yourself in the action as opposed to
the result,
filtering it. Like, is it happening yet? Is it happening yet?
Right.
Like, I think a lot of people get too involved with that too soon.
Yeah.
And they don't let something like this that we're doing right now,
right,
become what it's going to become just through the inputs of being a participant in your content and being a participant in it really is a foundation of curiosity, right? That's all this is.
It is
conversation and curiosity, and then from that comes the purpose. From that comes the messages that you want to amplify. From it, comes anything. So it's that if I'd have known what my company was going to be or who I was going to be, later on in recovery, I'd have sold myself short.
Totally. You would not have believed it.
Well, for the positive things that have happened, but also for the negative things that have shaped me.
Totally.
As a result of having been a conscious participant in those trials. And it seems cliche to me to say, the pain is the teacher, or it
is cliche.
You gotta have the good and the bad times or whatever.
It's true.
But having been through a few of those cycles, it has given me a deeper appreciation for what that means.
Right.
And I think every time somebody stops thinking that's a cliche. It's because they have that same experience, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes. It sounds so cliche, but then when you say it, it's like, that's right. Yeah.
It's really right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's cool. Yeah. When it first started for me, it was a guy who you know really well, who got me into motorcycles.
Yeah.
To keep my hands and brain busy.
Yeah.
Every day. Right.
Yeah.
And it was like this guy could tell that the promises weren't coming true. Right.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't done anything. You
Right.
know, I was just sober. And he's like, well, you know, fucking maybe work on motorcycles, you know,
Yeah.
and then maybe working on it's crazy how things work, because what we're about to dive into is how it worked for you from start to finish, man, or start to present, you know?
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing. Is like that simple thing of teaching me to work on a motorcycle, which was just really making your bed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Completing a task every day, doing something and getting something behind your day.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, you did one thing, now
Yep.
do another thing. And
Yep.
is something I've heard you speak on.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think people in recovery make such good entrepreneurs, bro?
Well, high tolerance for pain
Real.
is probably one of the things.
Yeah.
I think people that have walked the road that we've walked do have an innate talent oftentimes for being really engaging and really sensitive people and really perceptive people.
Mhm.
And those aren't the first things you think of when you're an entrepreneur and you think, well, what are the traits you need to have? Most people say tenacity or
Yeah.
intelligence or whatever.
Right.
But
Yeah, I don't know fucking shit, dude.
yeah, right. But if nothing else, right? I think above and beyond, most
Yeah.
people say tenacity, right?
Yeah, they do
like
say
you got to
that.
keep going.
Yeah.
But with people in recovery, there's this sort of thing like a real desire to be kind of deeply connected in themselves. It's obviously the thing that becomes the biggest liability because they can't handle it, and so we try and disappear from it.
Yes.
But I think people, once they get a handle on that stuff and do the work and get free,
Yeah.
there's a authenticity underneath that
Right.
in a lot of people that are, they can't help but pursue that passion after they walk that road. They need a new road, which has, in some senses, just as much action.
Yeah.
We're kind of addicted to the action.
I
in a
am,
certain
dude.
sense.
Yeah.
And yet it takes tenacity to walk the road you walked before. It takes tenacity to walk the one we walk now in entrepreneurship. And I think those are, I mean, it's different for everybody. You can't really box it up and give a clean answer, but that's the main stuff I see with other guys I know that that embark on their own thing. And
I agree.
yeah, courage is another thing.
Yeah.
I think courage is a
Especially if you've done the work.
yeah.
It teaches you a lot of
Yeah.
ways to be fucking courageous. That's
Yeah.
like, you know,
100%,
right.
right?
Are you seeing this? Imagine your business featured right here on 4th Street Live. With millions of impressions and a fast-growing audience, this isn't just exposure, it's momentum. Want this spot? Text 775-470-9451.
Yeah.
And to believe in yourself,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Cleaning up your side of the street really helps you have that,
Yeah.
internal sense of yourself, and to be free of the baggage,
Yeah.
and a lot of times the self-hatred and the
Right.
stuff that comes with it, the things coming out of the back of the station wagon when you hit the stop sign,
Yeah.
or the
Yep.
stoplight.
Yeah.
It's good to know that, like, what we're doing now has more purpose.
That's true.
And I think sometimes we appreciate it more
That's
than
real.
other people. So
I think there is a part to that too, that it's the hardest thing for most people that hang out in our groups is the hugging the cactus step, right? You know, and that's that I don't know about you, but that was the hardest and scariest thing that I have ever had to do in my entire life.
Mhm.
And I watch a lot of men do that with me now.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not the hardest thing, or they're not fucking struggling, or it doesn't take them 2 months and 3 or 4 canceled, meetings to finish that step, then then I know that I know it's real because I know they're being honest and thorough, right?
Yeah.
But
It was 4.
4 months, dude. 4 months to do it, man. Yeah. But that's okay, bro, because that's what it was for me. Is like, man, actually I brought mine to Jonathan, and Jonathan was like, there's no way this is what it is, made me redo it, But what I'm getting at is hugging the cactus is scary.
Yeah.
And once you do that and you're honest and you're thorough and you get all the skeletons out of the closet and you talk to another man, a lot of things around you stop being so fucking scary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if that's why, or if it's just because that part of the program gives you so much fucking peace,
Yep.
That you're free to take those dives. You know what I mean? Because
Sure.
I know I was afraid to do everything before I got sober, man. I was like, I'd rather just sit home and do my thing. But all I find myself doing now is trying to look up to guys like you who have a peace and a consistency and a work ethic that I'm like, that's what I strive to be. Not on kind of competitive level, but on a target I'm trying to reach that I know I'm not going to catch, but that's okay because I love looking at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I also think, man, fuck, dude, there has got to be some kind of fucking gene that alcoholics and addicts have that just make us, like you said, it makes us willing to bite bullets and kind of do the bullshit that everybody else would have stopped. They would have just crawled back in bed, dude.
Right.
Said, fuck this.
Yeah.
And I have days that I'm just like, dude, I want to just say fuck this.
Yeah.
But if I just kind of push through it for another 20 minutes, dude, look what happens, Like,
Right.
like I think of John, because John, when he first got here, was like 30 pounds lighter. His shoulders were slumped all the time. You know what I mean? And just gradually watching it in other men is the best thing that I get to see now. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Is
Absolutely.
getting to see the light come on or not come on for other people is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So, tell me before we kind of dive back in, I want to kind of hear about your story, but where did the concept to call it Tahoe Trail Bar kind of start for you? And how did it grow the way it did?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a 2-part question, but I kind of want to dive into the history of this company because this is a product that I love. Nevada stuff.
Yeah.
I don't drink whiskey. I'm sober, but I've got Minden Mill bourbon up there by the Minden Mill people, you know what I mean? Which is like a Freight Ranch, NV36. I just like Nevada-based things. It's important to me and my soul. It's things that come from Nevada, and especially Northwest Reno and Reno. And so it's a special place in my heart for that, But I'd love to get into how the concept started, besides the coffee bar thing,
Yeah.
But and how you were able to grow it on the scale that you were able to grow it to so quickly,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think I grew the business in the early days from a lack of understanding of actually what I was getting into.
Yeah.
I mean, it was much more about
There was no template.
Yeah.
You had to fuck it up.
Yeah. I
My
mean,
guy.
it was like, I'll tell you a little bit more what I mean in a second, but like the initial birth of it was just messy.
Cool.
There was not a lot of scheming, or there wasn't a business plan. There wasn't a conception of like, oh, it can be X, Y, or Z, or it's going to be this big or that big, right? And I just really wanted to make as many bars as I could and sell them as quickly as I could.
Real.
That was like that was my whole mission. And as things grew incrementally, we moved from a coffee shop back, kitchen to a commercial kitchen that we shared with another macaroon cookie maker.
Cool.
That was making macaroons for Costco.
Cool.
and they made our bars 2 days a week. And so the goal became, okay, well, these people can make, effectively, instead of a sheet of brownies, they had a thing that it was a stack of 20 sheets of brownies that they would roll into an oven, right?
Yeah.
So it was like on a larger scale, but still very hands-on, very manual, right? And so that was my next stare, was like, okay, well, if these people can hand me 4,000 bars a week, not 400, then how do I sell 4,000 of them?
Right.
And I realized it wasn't by driving more laps in my Subaru. It was by driving my Subaru to someone who had other people driving the bars other places, right?
Okay.
So I needed to effectively have distribution
Right.
as opposed to self-distributing. And
So not door-to-door B2B sales.
yeah,
Not that way,
yeah,
especially for this. This is you need on a distribution kind of level.
yeah.
Understood.
And I'm giving you like a 14-month
No, I understand.
timeline
Right,
of
right.
like
Shrunk down and
me figuring this out,
Yeah.
right? It was because I was just wearing myself out and
B2B sales is hard though.
yeah, figuring
Yeah.
out like, oh my gosh, like I just worked as hard as I possibly could for a half a year and I made $24,000 gross. I didn't even know what I was making net. I had no idea what my margins were. I had no idea. It was totally arbitrary what I was charging for the bars. It's just
yeah.
like what-
Whatever I felt like
Yeah,
charging
yeah.
that day. Yeah, yeah.
and I would literally take a check from the people, and I had these little Office Depot receipt, with the pink one and the yellow one and the white one, and I'd go take my receipt book over to my accountant, and she'd enter all the. It was so manual and so
I love that.
clunky, right?
Right.
But it's like I had to get used to the fact that I was a business owner,
Totally.
because like I needed to figure out who I was going to be as an owner as much as I had to figure out what the business was going to be.
Totally.
I was learning all of that at the same time. So
Right.
after about the first 15 months, we started to max out the capacity of the commercial kitchen.
Okay.
So this was our second summer. I bought the first, I guess it was like 5,000 was like their max capacity. I bought my first load of 5,000 the second summer.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, we're now giving 3,000 of these to a distributor and selling 2,000. It was like a tipping point where more distributing was going on than
Cool.
self-distributing. So,
Yeah.
and
Then
then
what was the first big store that your bars were in?
it was Whole Foods.
Cool.
Yeah. We launched in Whole Foods in just the Reno location.
Cool.
And this was back when Whole Foods would do that kind of thing. I mean, you could get a local.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's either all of them or nothing.
Yeah, it's very much more corporatized, I guess you'd say.
Before we get into that, because that's something I'd like. If I were to start a fucking vegan energy drink,
Yeah.
right,
Mhm.
is the process that much different than how it was when you did it 10 years ago?
Not really. If to make the product.
No, I
itself,
think the
or
product.
to get the product into stores.
I think that's the hardest part.
Extremely
Right?
different. That's extremely different.
Understood.
Yeah.
So that process it's a lot harder to get distribution deals
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Well, I would say
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's working on. This is a new supplement company that's a sponsor of our show, and they are going through it, man. It's funny because you think about this. I started when I first got sober. I started a financial technology company.
yeah.
I got
remember
throat fucking tattoos. I was wearing a 3-piece suit every day, and I was miserable, right?
Yeah.
But I was doing business to business. I went into it with I'm going to make money, right? I had the tools, the knowledge, the website, the force behind me, the product.
Yeah.
I had everything I needed. What I didn't have is a great way to get in front of people to sell the fucking product, right?
Yep.
Like it's like that stupid old thing is like the only thing you didn't do is ask for the sale, that thing, it was like stuff like that where I would
That's such a good expression.
yeah, it was like I did everything right except for
Yeah.
find a way to better put myself because
Yeah.
financial technology, like fucking credit card processing, it's I can walk into a business owner, but ultimately if a business owner wants to change their financial technology products, they're
Yeah.
gonna fucking find you,
Yeah.
And it was like, so my thinking behind it was so backwards where I think that I really love that you said that your idea was, no, we need to distribute the product, and the designs and the everything else kind of took care of itself on the back end in a natural way.
Yeah.
And pivoted to,
Yeah.
I'm going to hammer in distribution, you know.
Right. Yeah.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah. Initially, right?
Right.
There were it was capacity and manufacturing issues.
Totally.
And I thought those were the only issues you had to solve to get bigger, until I hit a limit where I realized we not only did we need to change our manufacturing process, but we needed to change it once this next time for good.
Right.
Right. And that for us was to work with a co-manufacturer that was, all they did was energy bars.
Cool.
And the trick was that I went from making 5,000 bars a order
Wow.
to 50,000 bars an order.
Whoa.
And that's a much more difficult scale jump than 500 to 5,000.
Right.
Because the second you go from 5,000 to 50,000, you have completely saturated any hope. You no longer have any hope of selling all those in Reno, right? Or
Right.
all those in South Lake Tahoe.
Right.
It just, the math stops working.
Right.
And so I took a really big risk, and we redid the packaging, and we redid, as much as we could ahead of time. But I had to basically give them everything I had made in the first, at that point, 20 months of the business, and all to buy this one lot of 50,000 bars. And
Whoa.
and I remember calling my dad and being like, "Do you want to come out here and go get these bars with me? I'm going to take my truck, and I'm going to go, with a U-Haul,
Right.
and go pick these things up."
Jeez.
And he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it with you." And so we left at like 4:00 in the morning. We got there at 8. We drove back at like noon or 1, and I just started selling them out of the back of the U-Haul.
Fuck yeah. Okay. Cool.
I was
bro.
like,
yeah.
I was like, I don't have a choice. Like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely I'm gonna, make this distributor relationship work and all that other stuff. But I have got to get product turned into cash immediately.
Right, bro.
And
Yeah.
so I started paying off the packaging
So when you
supplier.
ordered that 50,000 unit package to basically launch what is now your crushing business, did you still only have one distributor at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Damn, bro.
Yeah.
So you had to fucking go door to door.
We had one distributor, but I had at that point 5 Whole Foods.
Cool.
But I was self-distributing to those Whole Foods. So
Damn.
those Whole Foods, that was step 1 for me, because it was, okay, well, at least I'm going now to sell bars into a store where people are coming in and out of it at a incredibly, efficient rate. I mean, with grocery stores, people are literally there to buy stuff, and they're usually in Whole Foods more curious, health conscious shoppers,
Yeah.
right? Versus my typical customer prior to that was like a coffee shop. Sure, they're coming in to get coffee, maybe they'll get a snack, but Whole Foods, it was like they were on a mission, right?
Right.
And so 5 of those stores was outselling all my coffee shops in South Lake Tahoe
Okay.
easily. Each one of those stores was outselling it.
Yeah.
And so I put together some pine displays and some other stuff to kind of accelerate it.
Yeah.
And then I demoed as much as I possibly could those next 2 or 3 months to sell through that product.
Right.
And it was the first time in my business career where I was going into this cycle knowing exactly what my costs were.
Yep.
Because when I put all that money on the line, it forced me to understand my cost of goods. It forced me to understand my P&L. It forced me to understand how much was this cash going to make me? Like how much, if these bars are going to cost me, I think they were 92 cents at the time, and they're not that anymore. They're like double that.
Are they?
Yeah.
Just inflation, or?
Inflation's crazy since,
No shit,
since
dude.
2012.
Yeah.
But
90 cents sounds like a good margin.
pretty
bro.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so once effectively, once I made that calculation,
Yeah.
and some of it I made with my dad on the way back in the, truck, I was like, okay, 50,000 bars. If I sell them at this for wholesale, and we've got this is our cost that we've got to pay the baker back in 30 days on net 30, then I've got to sell this many of these bars to pay them off, and then we'll have this left for profit, right?
Yep.
Effectively. And that was the beginning of me starting to think like a business owner,
Right.
and starting to think like, okay, well, this isn't just what I made. It's the amount of cash I now have to continue doing business at a certain amount of profit, right?
Right.
And so if you can make a healthy enough profit on an ongoing basis, you can cover the routine costs of, your warehouse, your employees, your own salary, all that stuff. So
Right.
that was like the inflection point. And then from Whole Foods, we got Raley's grocery stores.
Cool.
And at first we got 10 or 12 of their stores, and I was self-distributing those too. And I was waking up at like 2:00 in the morning and going to these warehouses, and
That just can't be sustainable.
it was not.
Okay,
And,
all
and,
right.
and I had one of, my many nervous breakdowns in
Yeah.
that process.
Yeah.
And realizing I just can't keep waking up at 2:00 in the morning. And Raley's eventually called and was like, "Are you the person that's doing $60,000 a year in sales in our stores, and you're not even in our warehouse?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
"Well, why don't you just ship it to our warehouse and we'll send it to all the stores?" I was like, hell yeah!
Didn't even
And then
know
they
that was
go,
a thing, yeah.
and then
Yeah.
she goes, and why don't we put you in all 140 of our stores? And
Oh,
I was like, oh my god,
Damn.
And
How long after you started did that call happen?
it was after.
That's a crazy phone call, dude.
Yeah.
Jeez, bro. That's cool.
Yeah. So it was like 14 months of self distribution in the new packaging with the, new cost of goods, and I was like, as an entrepreneur, there's certain things where you get a sniff of like a bigger win.
Yeah.
And it gives you this internal motivation to keep going. It's the same thing with recovery, honestly.
Right.
It's like, holy cow, I can not drink for a week. That's like
It is.
intoxicating. Like, what if I could not drink for 30 days?
Right.
What if I could do 2 months, 4 months, 6 months? And then you're like, what if I could not drink for a year?
Yeah.
And then it's like after a period of time, it happens probably differently for everybody.
Yeah.
You stop thinking about getting to X, or you start to accept that this is just
That is a big
who
point.
I am.
It
This
is a
is
big
how
point.
I am.
It's just another day at that
Yeah.
point. When you finally get to it's not, I'm looking at, almost having, it's like, oh shit, this is just another day. Cause that is a switch that happened for me about 2 years of sobriety. And I was like, no, I've just been sober 2 years.
This
And I'm
just is,
just,
yeah.
that's just what it is now. I've lost the obsession.
If you'd have
Out here, you ride with your head on a swivel, but you can't control everyone else. If you're hurt in a motorcycle wreck, the insurance game starts fast. Don't go it alone. Law Tigers is a national network of motorcycle accident attorneys. Start with a free case evaluation, and there are no upfront fees. You don't pay attorney fees unless they recover compensation for you. Law Tigers is a sponsor of 4th Street Live podcast. Law Tigers, because you should never ride alone. This isn't a story about crime. It's a story about what happens when the railroad becomes something else. Critics are raving about Green's new novel, a gripping blend of reality and fiction. Written by Jacob Green, inspired by real life on the railroad and in the outlaw motorcycle world. A secret network of hitmen, contracts hidden inside of steel spikes, and an underground world as old as the rail itself. Couldn't put it down. Never lost interest. A story you don't see coming. The Rail Runner. Available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Looking for the best sandwich in Reno? Look no further. The Sandwich Spot has you covered with 2 convenient locations. Visit us at 2002 Sierra Highlands Drive or 6775 Sierra Center Parkway, Suite 100. We're open daily and ready to serve you the most delicious sandwiches around. Come taste the difference at the Sandwich Spot and tune into 4th Street Live podcast. New episodes weekly.
There's only one place in town I take my Harley-Davidson motorcycle to, and that is Slabs Sides Motorcycle Shop on Glendale Avenue in Reno. If you're looking for a tune-up, customizing your motorcycle, bars, exhaust, they've got everything you need and one of the best hourly rates in town for any of your motorcycle repair stuff. Go check out Slabs Sides Motorcycle Shop.
if you would have gave up the first time you thought about giving up, how old would that business have been?
Yeah. It was a pretty big crisis point when we switched over from the commercial kitchen to the co-packer. I
Yeah.
thought long and hard about whether this was just a fantasy and like
Yeah.
it really wasn't worth risking everything I'd made. Like I could have walked with 15 or 20 grand.
Yeah.
And sort of felt like,
It's a lot of money.
that was an interesting thing to do for a couple of years.
Right.
You know, I'm going to go get a job.
Right.
And that was probably the first time. And then there's many more since then. But
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. Well, so okay, so getting back to that thought,
No,
right?
yeah,
where
yeah.
like you have this motivation from getting this conception of like, whoa, if I was able to convince this grocery store to take me in all of their stores, what other grocery stores are around here that I could get them to take in all the stores too, right? And
So now I'm told that like you have to go to conventions and pitch these. Is that how it is now? You have to go
Yeah.
to these like conventions put on by Bel Air Foods or by Walmart,
Yeah.
and you got to go to them and you got to say, and it's
yep,
I don't know if that's how it is now.
it's a mix, right? So
Because what I'm
you can-
effectively trying to do is give some of our listeners who might be interested in starting their own business or
Yeah.
being entrepreneurs a Wes King template
yeah,
where they can maybe follow some of your steps
yep,
and refine those to whatever
yeah,
the thing is
mm-hmm.
and kind of remake it. I'm always
Yeah.
interested in talking to people like that,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, continue. Yeah.
yeah.
And so you went to other stores.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, I mean, let's look sort of to this point. It was a fantasy of like, I want to own my own business.
Real.
And then 6 months or 9 months in, I realized this is a lot more fucking hard work and a lot less fantasy. Like,
sucks.
and then you get some sort of like aha moment, like, oh, I've got to get bigger. That's the only thing that's going to make this any easier is I got to grind and get bigger. And so that gives you a little motivation to get to a certain point. That was us getting to that commercial kitchen.
Right.
Then you're faced with some sort of, major decision inflection point, right? The chasm of doom or the valley of death or whatever it is.
The apex, bro. Yeah.
And you've got to decide whether you're going to, risk it all and go into that, journey that is going to be more than just like the idea of owning a business. It's actually going to be the process of building a business. That's when I had to get serious about understanding numbers. That's when I had to get really understanding of cost of goods and all that different stuff.
Yeah.
Then,
I understood that from when I sold drugs.
yeah, right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Buy low, sell high, man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's
Come on,
it.
I got this.
Yeah,
No.
and then you got to get a better supplier.
Right.
You gotta,
No, yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and I think that first of all, you have a good product.
yeah, that helps.
What I'm curious about too is it your business maybe specific? Was marketing important?
Yeah,
And that's a question that I get
yeah,
so much from people that are like,
yeah.
no, man, you've got to have 1 million followers and you've got to
Mm-hmm.
do all this to be able to sell a product like this.
Yeah.
And I've seen you do it, and it was kind of just as social media was kind of cracking off, right? Like 2010, 2011 to 2014. I mean, we're just kind of getting to the social media era,
Yeah, for sure.
So was marketing important, or was it, like you said, did the distribution kind of just take care of itself?
No, it doesn't sell itself once you get into distribution. You got to have a marketing plan. And
Right.
every business, every product, every sector has its own nuances in terms of what marketing works.
Totally right. That's what I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think today there is a commonality in that if you can find the real, authentic influencer that truly is actually moving the needle in your space, right? For instance, with Diamond, maybe it's a somebody that he knows is the perfect archetype for this product. And
He lucked out because he's that guy.
right, there you go.
Right. Yeah. So he's his own guy, which is great.
Yeah.
You know, which is dude, if you were famous when you started Tahoe Trail
There you
Bar,
go.
it would have been a lot easier. You know what I mean? You know, but he's already like a well-known man.
Yeah.
And his partner John there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've already had the space. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I'm tracking. So it's if you can find somebody that's like a Reno voice or the voice of the vegans in Tahoe, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really more mentioned that, Jake, just because that is one cross-platform valid strategy, or excuse me, cross-product valid strategy. It's like, in this age, having somebody that represents your product that a lot of eyes are on is a great strategy.
Yes.
Being where everybody already shops
Yes.
for the types of things that you're selling, also a great strategy.
Right.
So it can be a marketing strategy to grind on making sure your product is available where people are always already in the mindset to say, I'm going to load up on some energy bars for snacks for the week, and I'm going to get some bread and some eggs and some whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, you've already won if they're coming to the energy bar aisle looking for an energy bar.
Right.
Then you got to have attractive packaging. You have to have a good value proposition and all that stuff. But, you know, that's in and of itself, it's a sales strategy, but it's sort of in CPG, consumer packaged goods, which is the space that I'm in.
Right.
In CPG, shelf placement is a integral part of both sales and marketing.
Does it cost more?
Yeah,
It
depending
does.
on where you are.
It does.
Yeah, initially you can have a strategy, and this is just for any entrepreneur out there, this is just the grind. You know, you can ask for favors. You can be tenacious.
I am that
You
guy.
can be you can be engaging and gregarious, and you can be genuinely interested in them as a person.
Yeah.
You know, these buyers, I've made relationships with them. I've been friends with some of them for a really long time.
Yeah.
Because I treat them like people.
I deal almost equally in favors as liquidity.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's almost 50-50.
Yeah.
Until a point where maybe I can get to a point where it's, you know, not that. But like right now, like, and I don't have no problem, but a lot of it is like you said, it's like 50-50.
Totally.
You know, and that's okay. I kind of fucking love that, honestly.
I do too. Yeah. And I think, you know, business will always be a lot about relationships. And I think people in recovery actually are really good at having good relationships and being good friends and being dependable and that kind of thing.
You know what that is? It's the first group of people in a lot of people's lives that don't want anything from you.
Totally.
You know?
That's such a good point, man.
Yeah. It's
That's
the first
such a
people
good
in your
point.
life that say, I love you, and they're not trying to steal your money, your girlfriend, or your drugs. You know what I mean? That's what it is, man. And
it's so true.
And it was, and that, dude, you hit it on the head, because it was, relationships were hard for me, right?
Totally. Yeah.
And I was a culprit of 99% of the resentments I've ever had, right? You know, but, you know, everybody around me I felt like needed something from me, and it, luckily being in recovery, taught me relationships are not, if I call you friend, if I ever call you friend, and you're that friendship, to me, friendships are no longer expendable, right? You know, I have a responsibility if I've done something wrong to be your friend, right? You know what I mean? I just had to touch on that because
it's important.
Because that's an important thing, and I
agree.
Is being able to have business connections that are also people that you're friends with, because it's not a what can this person do for me?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and to me, like, none of it's as separate as a lot of people I think that work for somebody else. They sort of compartmentalize their life. They have their job, and then they have, you know, their life outside of their job. And that's incredible. That's a huge gift. I wish I had that a lot of days. But I guess the other way to look at it and is that my job and my life are inextricably linked. It's just is what it is.
Good.
Like, anytime I'm in Tahoe and I'm mountain biking, even if it's a day off, like, I'm still working,
Me
you
too.
know, and the other side of that coin is there's some days in the middle of the week that I'm sitting here. Right. And that's that's good too. But
those are the upsides, the absolutely great sides of
totally
doing your own thing, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Like my buddy he just started his own motorcycle shop, right?
Yeah.
A dude in my club.
Yep.
Started his own motorcycle shop, quit a job that was paying him $120,000 a year as a welder, killing it, and he said, I'm just not happy.
Yeah.
I want to start my own thing. And I'm like, oh shit. Well, now you're going to, now you're going to work more, bro. Like, and that was the first conversation we had, bro.
True
Is
story.
like, you are gonna, it's not 9 to 5 now, dude. Now it's when the job is done so you can eat at night.
Yeah.
And you're probably working the weekends, dude, you know? And but you do at a point get to have a freedom. And again, like we were talking about, something that is tangible, that is yours.
Yeah.
Which
You're
feels so good. Dude,
Yeah,
because it's a product of work that you've completed, right? Which is a cool thing. A lot of people will look at Wes and say he's the guy but they don't see the 10 years of ups and downs and bullshit that you had to go through to fucking make it happen, right? Which is tenacious.
Part of the
What
deal.
I mean? It is part of the deal, bro.
part of the deal.
You
You got to be crazy enough to do that, and you also got to be just one day at a time. If you thought about all those swings that were still coming, it wouldn't be very motivating.
Yep.
And it's also a product of age, right?
Right.
Once you get
the frontal lobe attached to the rest of your brain. Yeah.
Yeah, like
about 30 years old.
There's some sort of switch that flipped for me around 40 probably, where it was like, it doesn't have to be about getting somewhere.
Cool.
It can just be about the process, and it can be about seeing what comes and trying to solve the next problem with a level head.
Right.
And if anything, just try not to make it worse, right? And don't blow up a relationship just because something goes wrong. Or also don't be a doormat and take it too long from somebody that's treating you like crap. And I've done that too.
Yeah.
Terrible suppliers that didn't respect me, didn't even really want my business. And I kept going, oh man, I'm lucky to even have a supplier. And it's like, no, there's other ones and you can go look for them.
Right.
Courage to change the things you can, So some of that maturity begets, maybe it's some sort of managerial efficiency, or maybe it's some sort of even financial efficiency to like not blowing up sales relationships, or, being a little more even keel or whatever.
Right.
But I just feel happier running my business. I don't feel like I'm living and dying by the sword every day as much. And I think every entrepreneur has that phase. Yeah. And hopefully that phase is happening when you're in your 20s and 30s, because that's when it happened for me, was when I had a lot of energy and a lot of fire and a lot of this has to happen right now sort of energy. Yeah. I think that's important, and it has to, be a facet of how you grow.
Right.
But for me, in the place I'm in now, there is a little bit more.
So it would have been harder for you to navigate it now.
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit more perspective now.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm in the phase of my business where perspective benefits me. I would have not at the time known it, but when I was in the early phases of my business, the thing that benefited me the most was endless energy, optimism, not knowing that I was really walking over a 200-foot chasm when I took that little leap to that other, side of that cliff or whatever.
Right.
And just not knowing what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
I try to keep that optimism in all aspects of my life for that exact reason. I call it the staying teachable method, right? You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Is like, I just fucking, if I don't know everything, then I'm in such a better place, bro.
Yeah.
That stupid saying that ignorance is bliss, man. It's very true.
It is.
I'd much rather just say, I don't have all the answers, and I don't know everything about recovery. I'm not the fucking, program expert. I am okay being in the middle of the herd with everything. And if I stay teachable, those feelings of optimism have continued to stay in my life in a really positive
100%.
way,
Yeah.
It's like I'm able to stay optimistic. Like if I stop worrying about, again, how it comes to pass,
Yeah.
and just kind of put one step in front of the other. I got to tell you a funny story, because the reason I get this love for Nevada products, anything Nevada, is because of my mom and dad. You know my dad.
Yep.
And if it was, 17 different granola bars on the shelf, but there was one that was from Nevada.
Yeah.
That's the one we're getting.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one. And so like now it's cool because my son's in Cub Scouts, right? And I was in
Right.
Yeah. Cub Scouts. And when I was in Scouts, we'd go. It was a little bit different then because when we would do it, we would be doing a lot of shit. Like we'd go fucking climbing and
Right.
you know, doing some kind of dangerous shit. But my mom would always pack things.
Yeah.
And so I had a nostalgic connection to your product before I met you.
No kidding.
So I've waited a long time to tell you this. But I had a nostalgic connection to your product because my mom would always pack Tahoe Trail bars
No kidding.
and all the Scouts stuff because
Amazing.
she was a nut job about the healthy shit, right? We couldn't have the General Mills one, right?
Right.
Which had all the good shit in it,
Yeah.
you know?
All the GMOs.
all the GMOs, man, all the chocolate. So, but she would pack that, and it was just a cool thing. And then meeting you and going, "That's the fucking guy," is a really cool connection.
Cool.
How that comes
love
full
that.
circle.
I
And I know there's a lot of other stories, and I know there's a lot of other things like that because the buy local, support local thing, fuck, it only works if the product is good, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know?
that's true.
It has to match the quality,
Yep.
you know, of the commercial products that sell
Yep.
millions and millions and millions. So
Yep.
it's like we can have a show that's based here in Nevada and we're reaching a national audience.
Yeah.
But if our show isn't, you know, matching quality and the numbers of like Joe Rogan, you know, nobody's, but if it is, then maybe somebody will think, okay, well, I get to have the at-home experience and support a local business. You know what I mean? And it's I've seen a lot of people fail with the buy local just because they start a local company. They think that they should just have this. But what's cool about your product is it is good.
Yeah.
It does match the quality of other nationally distributed brands, but it did early on.
Yeah.
So that's a cool
Thanks.
thing.
Yeah.
You know
I appreciate
what I mean?
that.
So, but I wanted to kind of take back a little bit.
Yeah.
You're from Nevada?
Nope. Nashville, Tennessee.
My guy. When'd you move here?
2004, 2005.
Gotcha. Was it school?
Nope. I came out here to go skiing in Tahoe.
My God. Doing a ski bum thing.
Yeah.
Cool. And were you drinking a lot prior to your move here to Nevada?
Yeah.
Or did Nevada fuel those flames a little bit, you know?
It did fuel the flames. Yeah. I mean, I was still drinking a lot before this, but like,
yeah.
I mean, a ski town really affords you the opportunity to kind of let your alcoholism go as far as it wants to go.
Was that South Lake?
Yeah.
You were living in South Lake?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Per capita, they might have the most around.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
I'll go up there sober.
Yeah.
Nobody's not sober.
No,
Nobody's sober. I'm
I know.
talking. That's okay. I'm good. You know what I mean? But but I'll go up there. I'm like, man, this town is kind of
It's crazy.
a haven for a lot of things, to be honest. You know,
It is.
It's kind of a trip up there.
Yeah.
So you get up there and you're skiing and you have some freedom away from home.
Yeah, I mean, it was
off.
a gradual increasing of my, party time and decreasing of my life responsible time, right? And at first, there was this middle ground where it was like
Fun with problems.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
it was fun with problems, but it was also the first year or two in the ski town where like justifying like I'm here to have as much fun as I am to work, right? Like I'm not here for a career. I'm here to ski 100 days a year. And so I was arranging my schedule around, working at night and skiing as much as I could in a day and we got a couple of really good snow years and that was fun.
Yeah.
And coming along with that fun was more fun, which was after the ski day, have some beers. After the, whatever's going on at after work, we would hang out and go to the casino or whatever the thing was. And then it was interesting because in Tahoe, a lot of the mood and a lot of the energy is around the weather, especially in the winter.
Kind of like Portland a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if it's raining and excuse me, if it's snowing,
Yeah.
I was thinking about Portland.
Yeah.
If it's snowing, people are in good spirits, right? People have good jobs in the winter. The plow drivers are getting paid. The people are getting their powder days. Da 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 da. When you have a couple of bad winters in a row, people start to like lose belief in not only, whether it's going to snow again, but themselves, the town, like
That's
it's
crazy.
It gets,
Because I know this, but I've never had somebody articulate it that way. I know this about those
it can
people.
get really dark.
Yeah.
And so we had a couple of those winters where there was nothing really else to do except drink. And so it started to kind of tick up and tick up and tick up. And then, eventually the ski shop I was working at, because we had 3 bad winters in a row, it went BK, right?
Wow.
And we were liquidating the ski wall for half price and selling boots out of the back door for cash. And like,
Wow.
it got kind of crazy. And then the 2008, 2009 financial crisis hit on the back end of those 3 years of bad snow.
Oh, so it really fucked South Lake Tahoe up.
So and it just really ruptured everything about that town.
Yeah.
And nobody skis when they don't have any money. Exactly. And
Not
so
the way we did it up in Northwest
Right.
Reno,
I
bro.
know.
Just right down fucking Stardust Street, dude. No. no, I get it, man.
Yeah.
Dude,
So-
nowadays, I went to North Star last year.
Yeah.
I paid $312
It's
for a day pass.
Well, buy your own mountain, dude.
that is crazy.
It is nuts.
$312 for a day pass.
Where did you just go?
Mount Rose.
And that's the one that's Mount Rose Heavenly, and that's like the 3.
I think Vail owns. I don't know if Vail owns Rose. Do they?
Which one's the one that has 3 resorts in one company?
It's Vail, and they own
Yeah, Kirkwood, Heavenly, and North Star.
And North
North
Star,
Star,
not
yeah.
Mount Rose. My bad.
Mount Rose.
Mount Rose is always my favorite.
I think it's still. I think it's like.
It's local.
Yeah, it's local, just like Sugar Bowl. Sugar Bowl didn't
Oh, they're local?
Mm-hmm.
do the.
Vail's not local. It's not a local company.
No, they're out of Colorado.
No,
Oh,
they're
no
like
shit.
the.
Oh, that's right, because it's named after Vail, Colorado.
yeah, they're like
yeah.
the Walmart of ski resorts.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
They
dude.
do it right, though. It's cool to go up there.
Yeah.
You know? But, yeah, I don't know. Mount Rose is just a pretty. What's your favorite mountain that you do?
It used to be Kirkwood before Vail bought it. I really liked skiing at Kirkwood.
Kirkwood's off 80 right there, right?
No, it's
What am I thinking?
It's down.
It's on the other side of North Lake.
Yeah,
Right.
It's over
yeah.
by Carson Pass.
I love that side.
Yeah.
That is a pretty side.
Hope Valley. You know that area.
Is that busy now?
Yeah, it's gotten a lot busier with being a Vail resort because it's like on the season pass for all their resorts.
Yeah. I was always told that was like the local secret one. You know?
Yeah.
Was like not a lot of people
Yeah,
went
and
to.
it's a 2-hour drive.
It is a kind of a hike, but you get to be on that side. I'd do that, and then we go the long way to South Lake and see Emerald Bay and all that, you know. But I haven't been up since my car accident.
Yeah.
My back's fucking done, bro.
Is it?
It is from the accident that got me sober. So it's like I can do it. I just probably get one run in me, and it's just
not worth it.
not worth the money that I would be spending.
Yeah, for
But,
sure.
Yeah, I like that. What's your favorite mountain that you've ever done?
Jackson Hole.
Wyoming. Yeah.
Jackson Hole is in my mind the best ski mountain in the world.
No shit. Cowboy Mountain.
Yeah, I know that anybody who is listening that's been to Europe or is from Europe and knows those mountains well would argue with me. But like, a good rowdy day when Jackson has a foot of snow is about as good as it gets.
Yeah, and it dumps up there, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Doesn't it? It's. I got buddies that live in. A lot of people listening.
Yeah,
tune in from Wyoming.
Yeah,
and they live up in that northern area, and but like them, they've been having a dry couple of winters actually. You know, I don't know. I was thinking that we weren't going to get any. Our winters have just been getting later. I feel like we just been getting hit at as much, just at a different time.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of weird, right?
It is kind of weird, you know. But one of the other things I wanted to dive into. So when did it kind of reach the no more problems? It was just problems.
No more fun. It was just problems.
Yeah. Was it up there in Tahoe still?
It was right on this cusp where I was I was still in Tahoe and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. Okay. And this is an interesting thing because I thought 30, the age of 30 was when I was going to get it together.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
I was going to stop this whole ski lifestyle and the, living in the mountains. I was going to figure it out. I was going to go to a city, or I don't know what I was going to do. And as it goes with being in the depths of alcoholism and not having the tools of recovery, you don't have a choice when you get out of the cage with the gorilla. I mean, like, you get out when the gorilla's done. And so I kept
that.
making these bargains with myself, like, okay, just 6 more months. Okay, just, 6 more months. And suddenly I'm 31. I've got this business now. It's stressing me out, Tahoe Trail Bar, I'm making bigger and bigger decisions. I'm traveling for work, and I'm finding myself, like, waking up in places where I don't know where I am. I'm, partying with bums in the Mission in San Francisco and missing the last BART train to get to my food show the next morning. And,
Wow.
Like, some stuff's going on that's, like, it wasn't supposed to be part of the script of, like, Wes's life, at this point. And I just kind of kept thinking, like a lot of people do, like, it's got to get better sometime. Like, things will settle down. Yeah. Things will, and all the while I'm deluding myself into thinking it's not that bad. And this is just, circumstantial. This shouldn't have happened. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know how this stuff goes, right?
Yes.
You didn't set out to have a terrible car wreck the night you drove, down that road. And all of a sudden I woke up one day and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I am a degenerate alcoholic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
All my decisions are made around
yeah,
how to keep avoiding anything except making sure today I don't have to think about all the things I'm avoiding.
Right.
That's like literally what my life became.
Yeah.
And still I had this delusion that, like,
well,
I'm
it's
gonna
also,
get,
yeah,
I'm
and
going
it's
to get it together. I'm going to get it together. I'm going to get it together.
Yeah. And for you to be different than the other entrepreneurs that were all out networking in San Francisco, which literally do that, that's the people I fucking envied the most coming in, man, was going to those networking mixers and everybody's drinking normal. And I'm like,
they're having 2 and going home.
Come on. Yeah. You know what I mean? You guys aren't doing it right, but I envy those people because I was like, why can't I just fucking have 2 or 1 or you know what I mean? And that was, and because it's like, there's so much behind drinking.
Yeah.
And even the party shit that is just part of being an entrepreneur in some senses, man. And having to find and navigate that initially was like, made me dread networking, made me dread that because it was like, I don't do it right. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now it's like, I can breathe underwater anywhere. I'm fine. Which is a gift, but it took me a lot of learning about that. Does that make sense? So it definitely was an initial struggle.
Yeah. And I can't breathe underwater forever. I'm not a fish.
Right. No, it's a daily reprieve of breathing underwater. Yeah.
It's it's an interesting thing. Like, that's, the end of people's stories is always I think it's always different, but it's always the same.
Yeah.
It's some sort of, like, moment of clarity, some sort of waking up and realizing just how far beyond bargaining and moderating that this has gotten.
Yeah, I love that part in the book where it talks about all the things you tried.
Yeah,
I love that because it's like, fuck yeah, I did that. Like swearing it off, drinking only at night, only switching from beer to whiskey. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, all those things are just, that part just makes sense. And I always laugh when I read it because it's like reading it on paper sober.
Yeah.
And with some of the promises that have come true in my life seems so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this has got to be a joke, right? But when I first read that passage and I was reading about, like, all the things that we would go through, I'm like, It's like, man, there's a few more things he hasn't tried, right? You know what I mean? Like he, you know,
Totally.
what if he just like, you know, drank on the weekends, you know what I mean? Or like whatever. And it was like the insanity doesn't leave my brain. You know? So
hasn't let up on mine.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
that
yeah.
much.
Yeah, I just found a way to focus it into something positive that I don't have to lie, cheat,
Yeah.
steal, and I get to wake up in the morning with a sense of peace.
Yeah.
And if I do all of those things, then the rest, I'm eligible
Yeah.
to receive the benefits of the work that I've done.
Yeah.
But I'm only eligible if I do what you're saying is stay free of the barbershop, right?
Right.
You know, and do that kind of thing. So I'm
Yeah.
with you.
And that freedom, right, it's a dance, right? It's a I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention, like, in a setting where we're talking about this and we don't necessarily have agency over how people are listening or how they're interpreting what we're talking about this topic.
Right.
You know, I think that's the most specifically important thing to remember and make clear is that it's a daily reprieve.
Right.
And that's the only thing I can control.
Exactly.
And like, you know, I'm glad you're free of lying, cheating, and stealing, but I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
You know? And
well, if I was the owner of Tahoe Trail Bar,
you know,
I'd find a way to make strippers
right.
wear the packaging around everything. You know, like there's a reason. Like
He is not lying, sir.
yeah. I like hot chicks in my marketing. You know what I mean? So, so that was again a thing that I had to. I struggle with all the wrong ways of doing anything. You know what I mean? So I'm with you. I'm with you. It is a daily reprieve, and it's contingent on the maintenance of your spiritual condition.
Yeah.
And that means that there's a condition to your sobriety.
Yeah.
Which is maintaining conscious contact with something that's bigger than you, call it whatever call it Eric Clapton, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, but just something bigger than you that you can talk to. And the cool thing about this show is this is not a recovery show.
Yeah.
I'm just sober.
Yeah.
And John's just sober.
Yeah.
And I happen to talk to a lot of people that I value because of the things they've overcome and things they've done.
Sure.
And it just so happens they're also sober.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. That's kind of a thought, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, man, maybe there's a reason behind it, you know? And it's not saying that you need to go be an alcoholic and then get sober to do these things.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, if you're listening and you're struggling,
yeah,
there is a solution. Now, another thing I wanted to ask you, and just on your perspective.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people have been coming to me lately, and they're struggling with alcohol, but they don't want to go to any programs.
Yep.
What is your opinion on how, eventually I'm only going to lead a horse to the water.
Right.
And I can only tell you that if you're like me, your life's only going to get better.
Yeah.
If you hug some cactuses and take some hard looks into really dark closets with some really fucking scary skeletons.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that can only be shared. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there is a culture these days of, say, there's somebody that comes to you and says, "Look, I'm struggling, but I'm not going to the rooms."
Right.
What's your take on that? You know,
when it's everybody's individual decision.
It is,
you know, and that's like you already said. It's just it's two things, right? It's either you can't lead the horse to water. Maybe the horse isn't thirsty. You know. Like
maybe the horse hasn't walked enough.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And maybe, maybe that horse is a different breed of horse that doesn't need water as much. I'm
totally real.
I'm just like,
I get what you're saying.
You know, I can't say whether anybody else is at the point where they can decide that this type of a decision is right for them.
Yeah.
And the decision I made wasn't to stop drinking. It was to try something different.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And if I'd have been told that I had to decide to stop forever now before I get any of those, you know, any of that help, any of those, you know, freely given tools, the contingency is that you have to decide, and we're going to hold you to it.
Right.
That's not how it is.
Yeah.
That's not how it is. That's it. The only requirement is a desire and is to stop drinking, right?
Yeah.
And
There is a level of accountability though that
Totally.
you do get,
I agree.
but they're not going to stand over your shoulder. Right?
No.
Yeah,
But I'm saying at the beginning. I'm saying
Yeah,
like
totally.
the question you're asking is
No, yeah, before the rooms,
is somebody is somebody like, you know, how do you convince them, or what do you do once you can't get them to, you know, do whatever? And you and I both know that the common wisdom in our recovery is that I'm ready to help the guy who's ready for help.
Right. 100%. I
And-
can't help anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always say that to guys that I help. I'm like, I'm not going to go 20 yards out in front of you and wave my hands and
Yeah.
whistle.
I do
and,
the same
you know,
fucking thing, but I'm here when you're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And it's, the people that have struggled have not found the attraction.
Right.
Because we don't, like you just said, we're not going to promote this shit. This isn't a fucking cult. We're not going to fucking beg you to come, you know, but maybe you haven't found the right place to see the attraction, you know?
Right.
And you can find that attraction in a lot of places, right? And I found it not beyond the rooms. I found it in fucking therapy and fucking,
Sure.
you
Me
know,
too.
and
Yeah.
working on motorcycles and being in a motorcycle club, which is crazy how that transitions to being more spiritual, but it does, right? Because I'm around men that do the hardest possible thing for me, which is hold me accountable for my behavior. That's the real friend. That's like the hardest shit is like, is like having a group of men and women around you that are like, dude, I haven't seen you. Like Dan's text on Thursdays.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you in a while. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. You know, and that shit used to annoy me. I was like, I'm fucking busy. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, you're right, bro. Like that's a good friend, dude. You know, that accountability part is what makes the attraction for me a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
You know, before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, dude. So you spent a lot of time up in Tahoe. John, will you pull up Tahoe Tessie, dog? And the article about the deep dive into
Yes.
Let's
talk about some important shit.
Yes, bro. There's a new article, John, and it's I can't remember what the title. It's something like there's a monster after doing a deep dive in the submarines of or not submarines, but doing deep dives at the bottom of Lake Tahoe. They have found some scans of something interesting in the bottom of Tahoe. So however you want to Google that, you know.
Love this.
But go to news. There's a news article. Whoa, no mafia victims.
Come on.
I don't know if it's that one. John, will you see if you can? No, it's not that one. This one says fuck yeah, it is.
We want the one that says yes.
I want to read this, dude. I saw it. You maybe do a couple Google searches, but it's something about there's something that they found from submarine. There, wait, go down, right there. What lies? That's the one. Okay, so this is an article I read recently. Oh, this is from last year. Okay. The remotely operated vehicle named Deep Emerald was designed by the Resorting the Lake Depths Foundation with support of the Tahoe Fund at Martin's Camp Foundation, equipped with powerful LEDs, 8 thrusters, and a 4K camera. It was set to the surface. Go to the part where, see if they found anything. I think this is it. Anyway.
The lake bed appeared barren and silty. A dark world of fine sediments, Starfield-like.
This isn't it, dude. It was like on one of those really sketchy websites that gives you vibes.
While the dive didn't reveal Tahoe Tessie, it did reveal widespread fascination. More than 3,500 people tuned in live, and tens of thousands more viewed the footage afterwards.
This ain't it. I want to talk to you because you're a Tahoe guy.
We can see the live stream of the dive.
No, dude, because we're just going to be looking at murky water for fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty.
But I don't give a shit that there's nothing down there because I was the kid that was scared to swim in the public pool because there was guaranteed a shark at the bottom of it.
Nice. I was that kid too, bro.
Yeah, no, they might say there's nothing down there, but they can suck it because there probably is.
Isn't it like one of the deepest lakes around?
No, but look right there at the end of the article.
There you go.
The
Wait,
Tahoe's depths remain largely unexplored.
you can't, dude.
So
Yeah.
what you can now ask me is,
Yeah.
what parts of the lake have you explored and where have you seen Tahoe Tessie?
There you go.
And
Yeah.
I'll answer your question.
Have you seen it, dude?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
On the East Shore, you know,
That's
couple
where
of
everybody
times.
hangs out, dude.
So there is
on
some-
the
time.
so there
so
is
he's a
something?
Nevadan. On the
Well,
Nevada side.
yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's what they're all doing wrong. They're hanging out in California.
They
you know?
all think
Yeah.
that Tessie is at the bottom of the deepest parts
Yeah.
of Tahoe, which
What's
is
Tessie?
historically it's on the West Shore,
Yeah.
right there by Emerald Bay.
So
and-
I think Tessie is. So we have, I don't know. They have a lot of different versions of it, but they're basically saying it's the same. I've heard multiple things. I've heard it's the same species of whatever the fucking Loch Ness monster is, right? And then
Good.
I've heard,
Yeah.
And then I've heard, that it's so deep and unexplored that the ichthyosaur, which is
Oh.
our state fossil, because it kind of looks like the fucking ichthyosaur.
Nice.
You know, could have been that. You know,
Yes.
because it's so fucking deep. Who knows? You know.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of funny things about it, but what I do think is really cool about South Lake is, or I'm sorry, about Lake Tahoe is that it is so unexplored and so
Yes.
deep. But
It's the deepest
Yeah.
lake in North America, right?
I think so. That's
Yeah.
what I was asking. I think it is the deepest lake. John, will you check us, bro? But you're saying it's definitely on the fucking
Oh,
east
for
side.
sure. Yeah.
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 Why do you think it's over there more than the other sides?
Just,
Less people. Yeah. Could be, huh?
the Wattells, like
Yep.
George Wattell over there. I think he helped her, during the dark times of the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
It's the 11th deepest in the world.
Ah, crap.
In the world. No, but it's the deepest in the United States. Oh, Crater Lake. That makes sense. Crater Lake's a
it's-
fucking
I,
trip.
I think
Second deepest in the United States, 11th in the world.
It is.
yeah. So Crater Lake is deeper, but it's a crater-made lake.
Got you. So
I think that
natural lakes.
Tahoe is the deepest glacial lake.
Okay, there you go.
So don't
Yeah.
quote me on that, but I think
Yeah.
it's the deepest glacial lake
Yeah.
in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's got to be. See? No, come on. What does this Tahoe Trail Bar guy know anyway?
Crater Lake is a glacial lake, I guess.
Oh, it
No.
Is the second deepest in the U.S. 11th, the maximum.
Dude,
but I
so
don't
if
know.
there was a new movie out that's Age of Disclosure. It's about UFOs, right?
Okay.
Okay. One of the fucking best documentaries I've ever watched. The only documentary I've ever watched in theaters. It's that good.
Oh,
right?
wow.
It was in the
Okay.
theaters. But they talk a lot about UFOs and paranormal activity, but they're talking about because the ocean is so unexplored,
Yeah.
that's where they are, bro. They're in the water.
I think that we know everything about the ocean. They just want to tell us it's unexplored.
Yeah,
that's where
because of
they're
it,
hiding
because we'll find Atlantis. You know?
them. No, and
Yeah.
what if we just find out that there's just not as many fish? or
No,
something,
dude, there's
and
aliens down there
They've
for
been
sure.
feeding us rubber. For
That's
years.
ridiculous. There's aliens down there, dude. Yeah.
I'm
That's
glad we're getting around to what this show's really about. You know what
Conspiracy theories, dude. No, it's important.
They said
I
if
swear
we
to
keep
God, before
fishing-
you got here, I was looking up your bar and there was an article literally on one of the websites that was talking
I need to
about.
capture some Tahoe Tessie SEO.
There you go.
I mean, now
Yeah.
it's going to bump significantly, so
They
I already
already
go buy it
jumped up.
right when I leave.
They're already the Night Monsters hockey team mascot, bro. I love that, Yeah. Have you gone up to see a Night Monsters game yet?
I haven't yet.
That's their name.
The Night Monsters. Yeah. And it's literally because of Tahoe. God damn, that's such a cool, that blue stadium there in South Lake.
Yeah.
It's one of the fucking,
It's really cool that they did that.
it is cool, man. And it's one tier under the Golden Knights. I'm sorry, maybe 2 tiers under
Yeah.
the Golden Knights, but still fucking rad.
Really good hockey.
know.
Yeah.
So yeah, there they are. Yeah, so that's,
I'll go up there and see one.
bro, it is so fucking cool. It's
Nice.
cool because, like you say, well, hopefully it doesn't feel like work for you, but being able to just drive up there and hang out for a
Yeah.
day and go see a hockey game.
Go take a girl on a date and she asks you who you play for in the Night Monsters.
Yeah. You got to be pretty secure to wear that teal jersey. But
Yeah.
now Google what Tahoe Tessie looks like, bro.
Okay.
But
Do we know? Is there any photos?
yeah, for sure. See? Tell me that doesn't look exactly like the Loch Ness Monster.
I mean, that for sure is real.
That's a
Could you
reputable
imagine-
website.
Could you?
Which one is it?
Atlas
Lake
Obscura.
Tahoe.
Is
This,
it?
this is Lake Tahoe this week.
What was the old magazine where they had
Reddit.
all...
That's another reputable website.
Yeah. Reddit's
Everything
great.
on Reddit's true.
Yeah. Do you remember the old magazine you would get at the grocery store? And it was like Trump's an alien, that kind of stuff?
This is my favorite.
Oh, National Enquirer.
National Enquirer, dude.
This is my favorite.
There he is. Man.
That is the Nevada side too. No, it's in Clyde Village. There it is, bro.
Tahoe Tessie isn't real, but climate change is.
There it is. They got us.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Wes, I want to kind of close with something. If you were going to get, just to get right back into the serious shit, if you were to give a guy a 5 or 6 rule template on starting a business after your hurdles and how you've done it wrong,
Yeah.
what would that look like from kind of start to conception to distributing, like you were saying, to present,
Yeah.
This is...
I'm shooting from the hip here. So this could be good or this could be crappy. But I think know the market you want to get into before you get into it.
Did you do that?
No.
Cool.
I think that it's really important to truly understand, if nothing else, if you're in a product business, really understand the economics of how cost of goods come together to make the cost of a finished product, what margin you need to make at distribution, and what healthy margin that distributor needs to make it to the retailer, and what healthy margin that retailer needs to make it to the customer. Now, that's a mouthful.
No, I understand.
But those 3 stages are something that most people skip, and they just think they're going to make their product for whatever they want, and they're going to sell it for whatever everybody else sells them for.
Right.
And so if I'm making a Tahoe Trail Bar for $2.85 and I'm selling it in a grocery store for $3, there's no piece for my overhead and my employees and my salary. There's no piece for the distributor. There's no piece for the retailer. And there's, there's nothing for anybody. So you gotta back way up from that retail price. And a lot of people don't understand just the extent to which they have to be that cheap, in a product business to really make money. Now that correlates to the third rule, which is don't price your product in some sort of wishful, hopeful, where your costs of goods will eventually be. You got to price your product for where your costs of goods are now.
Yeah.
So if your bag of granola costs you $14 to make, you need to sell it to Whole Foods for $37, right? Well, that's too much, Wes. You can't sell granola for $37. I'm like, you're damn right you can't. You need to make that granola about $1.20 at expense at your cost of goods, right? In order for it to be $6.99 on the shelf.
Without sacrificing quality.
Without
being
sacrificing
greedy.
quality.
That's a hard one for me, dude, because I'd start going to the fucking sawmills or something, and
if you understand what I just said,
I do. Yeah.
And you truly internalize it, it's either going to completely turn you off from ever starting that product company, which is going to save you a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Or you're going to internalize just exactly how competitive and difficult it is to get your costs where they need to be.
Right.
And that's only one facet of running a business, but it's important, to stomach that reality on the front end, not once you've sunk $100 of your uncle's money into it.
Understood.
You know what I mean?
100% correct.
The fourth thing is, I think this is a 2-parter. You should always have mentors.
Yeah.
People that have done it before, ideally in your space. And the second aspect of that is be a good mentee. Ask for help. And when they tell you to do something or they suggest something,
do it.
Don't go back to them until you've done it. And in my career, I've had some incredible influences on my business acumen, but I always respected the mentor and tried to at least understand and take action on whatever they suggested before coming back, because otherwise it's a very empty relationship.
Right.
If you keep asking questions and not acting on any of the answers, you're not getting any of the benefit, and they're not seeing you be respectful.
Right.
Right. But some of those mentors have become great friends of mine because they respect me for following through. I respect them for being forthright and helping me shortcut things that took them 10 years, took me 2, you know? And you can save a lot of money, but it's really not about that. It's really about getting involved in the community of asking for help and receiving help, and then being that same person yourself later on, right? I help other entrepreneurs now. And you know, so for me, that's a big deal. And then, you know, the last thing I would say is probably the more fluffy or ethereal or whatever you want to say kind of thing. It's that always be willing to be at the stage you're in and just embrace that stage. There's going to be different stages. There's going to be that hyper work stage. There's going to be the grind stage. There's going to be pain and uncertainty. There's going to be times where it's going to get pretty good, right? But be in each of those stages, and also remember that they don't last forever. If you're an entrepreneur and you're struggling or you're thinking about getting into being an entrepreneur, those phases are all real. You're not exempt from any of them. Mm-hmm. They will all happen, and they will not last forever.
Yeah.
Including easy street, when you finally get to the point where you're like me, where the bar's nationally distributed, your margins are healthy, you have a good supplier, you know, stuff still happens.
Right.
I still go back into phases of grind. I still go back into phases of uncertainty. I still go back into phases of, you know, not keeping my perspective. You know, a lot of the stuff we've talked about today, right, that relates to both recovery and entrepreneurship is you just aren't exempt from any of that stuff. You're not immune. Right. And it's just much like recovery. It's a daily thing. It's a daily reprieve, but it's also a daily, all you can control is your inputs. And the more accepting I was or have become of the fact that those are all parts of it, things have gotten a lot more, you know, smooth in terms of my ability. I used to live and die by like, it's good, it's not good, We have free cash flow, we don't, you know, like.
Be where your feet are.
Be where your feet are.
Real, Wes.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real. And I think just to touch on what Wes is saying is
what are your 5?
I don't know, man. Do it and fuck it up.
That's good. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. That's what I was getting at is really I don't have 5. I think everything in my life I had to do, and even if I would have went to college for being an author, right?
Yeah.
I had to rewrite my book 6 times, right? Because I'm not, you know, traditionally educated, right? I went to high school. That's it, you know? And I
think any author would tell you that's exactly how to write a great book.
Right. And that's what I was told by other authors was like, don't worry about it.
Just keep writing.
We're fucking right.
Yeah.
But I rewrote that bitch 6 times. You know what I mean? And I finally got it on paper, and I finally got it to where like this is exactly what I was trying to say, you know? And I think that if you're interested in starting a business and not working, which is what I think, if that's what you want to do, just fucking start doing something. I think it's important. I think that you'll drive yourself crazy with what if I didn't.
Yep.
So that's where I will humbly say I have started and folded 6 things in my entire life.
That's great.
But I'd much rather say that than say, thought about doing 6 things and I didn't just do one of them.
No doubt.
I'd rather feel like that because ultimately I'm surrounded by something that today, which was my goal, which was to be able to make a living by doing something that I genuinely like to do in a circle that I genuinely like to do it in. So it wouldn't feel like work anymore.
Yeah.
You know, because I've done lots of days in my life where it's just fucking work. It's not supposed to be fun, you know, and that's okay.
Yep.
I want to get to a point in my life where I can sit down and talk to people and I can talk about motorcycles or recovery or fucking Tahoe Tessie or, you know, authors and get perspective and things like that. That'll never feel like work to me. You know, I think that is probably the take home for me is whatever you're going to dive into. I think that the back end goal it shouldn't have to feel like work.
Yeah.
Right. It should feel like something you like to do, you know? And I see hinklings of it because you love Tahoe. You come from the background of Lake Tahoe, and now you have a business that allows you to be kind of present in that space
100%.
and get to make money.
Yeah.
And I see what I'm tracking that, and that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, that's a beautiful thing, man. And to get to do it with another day sober is even cooler.
No doubt.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but well, Wes, I really, really fucking appreciate you being here, man. You will, like I said, have inspired me to do a lot of things, and just wanting to be, just by wanting to have what you had, because it was attractive, and it wasn't promoted, you know, and I get to wake up some days and feel like I get to have some of that, which I looked forward to so long ago. Yeah, you know, is a thing. Having
a gift,
having a possession, and having a softness and having a gift that I'm eligible to receive. And if I wasn't having influences and guys like you that came before me that did it first, you know, who watched other guys do it, you know.
That's right.
So, man.
More importantly.
Yeah. Wes, I really appreciate you being here. You're welcome anytime, my friend.
Thank you.
And if you ever looking for a new product, not a new product, but if you're looking for a product that's a local based product, Tahoe Trail Bars is what? Oh, yeah. Tahoe Trail Bars is a Nevada product, and more importantly, it's a Northern Nevada product, you know. So, one that has deep roots to my childhood, which is important.
Yeah.
So
I love that story.
Yep. Well, Wes, I really appreciate you being here. We will have you on in no time again, my friend. So
I love being here, Jake. Thank you so much for having me.
Be safe.